Critical memory integration, CMI, is an experiential psychotherapy that uses memory reconsolidation to help individuals integrate even the most distressing of experiences into their existing mental framework. Unlike conventional therapies, CMI facilitates integration through direct experience rather than conversation or explanation, resulting in a more efficient process. The person is guided to tune into signals of bodily sensations and emotions, uncovering the root causes of patterns and responses. The process fosters deeper connections to capacities for growth and adaptiveness, leading to a renewed sense of self and sustainable change. Valeria interviews Estafana Johnson. She is a licensed clinical social worker, trauma therapist, and the Director of Clinical Training at Arise Alliance, is leading the launch of a powerful new therapy model called Critical Memory Integration, CMI. She began her career in 2001 as a behavioral health technician, briefly stepping away in 2005 to teach in Japan. Her diverse background spans multiple roles and settings, including residential treatment for at-risk youth and medical social work, giving her a well-rounded perspective on mental health care. As the Director of Clinical Training for Arise Alliance Institute, Estafana Johnson oversees the professional development and training of clinicians on critical memory integration, CMI. Her role involves designing and implementing comprehensive training curricula for mental health professionals to enhance clinical skills, particularly in trauma-focused care, PTSD treatment, and therapeutic interventions. Estafana also develops and delivers trauma-informed programming tailored to the needs of at-risk populations, bringing these services directly into community-based settings to ensure accessible, responsive care where it's needed most. She is currently a practicing clinician and dosing session monitor at Lighthouse Psychiatry and TMS in Gilbert, Arizona, contributing both to clinical care and research trials, exploring the therapeutic use of psychedelics. Estafana's work in community mental health, coupled with her personal experiences as a first-generation child of immigrants, has deeply influenced her therapeutic approach. Passionate about supporting foster and adoptive children, Estafana serves as lead volunteer, board member, and clinical director for ASA Now, a nonprofit organization that provides critical assistance, support, and advocacy for foster and adoptive children and their families. Her role with ASA extends to Shade Tree Academy, a therapeutic school designed for children impacted by foster care and adoption, who have not thrived in traditional school settings. There, she provides trauma-informed staff training and has contributed to program development to support healing-centered education. With a commitment to education, advocacy, and compassionate care, Johnson continues to make a lasting impact in the mental health field and in the communities she serves. Meet Estafana at arisealliance.org. Here's the interview with Estafana Johnson.
Aloha, everyone. This is another A Quest for Wellbeing podcast interview, and my guest today is Estafana Johnson. She is a licensed clinical social worker, trauma therapist, and the director of clinical training at Arise Alliance. That is leading the debut of a powerful new therapy model called Critical Memory Integration, CMI. So this is my brief introduction to you. The full bio will be on the podcast notes. The question that I love asking everyone, Estafana, from the very beginning of our conversation, and a question that never left me for some reason too, how would you introduce yourself? Who is Estafana in this very moment?
I'm just a human being. I am a person, a mother, a wife, a friend, a therapist, a fellow sojourner, just trying to help others along the journey as well.
Yes. I love that the sense of humility, and that comes from a place of wisdom. I have found the wiser we become, the more humility sets in. That's kind of an interesting thing, right? Paradoxical in a way, but it's really not. So, my follow up question is about becoming a therapist. What inspired you to become a therapist?
it, you know, what's funny is I never really thought I would become a therapist. I kind of landed into the position. I had been working at a furniture store and was looking for a job, and somebody offered me a job in behavioral health, and I just fell in love with it. I fell in love with working with people, and over time I became good at connecting with kids in particular. And so the organization that I was with at the time was a nonprofit, and they essentially told me, you're going to school because you got to be a therapist. And I thought, you're crazy. I can't do that job. That's weird. But no, here I am. I mean, I got my bachelor's and was certified in working with juveniles with sexual abusive behavior at the time, which is arguably probably one of the hardest populations to work with. And but I just loved the work. I loved it. And I, eventually got my master's degree, and then I ventured out into working in other areas and exploring other ways that we can help people.
Yes. Wow, that's an amazing. I think I have heard this before, but it's rare. A case where this experience where you didn't really even think about it before, and then you just kind of accepted the suggestion of somebody else that resonated with you somehow. I would assume wholeheartedly that you said yes because it resonated somehow. So I'm wondering, did you have that spark already for like the somehow the thought or that reflection about helping others with mental health problems?
I think, the spark that I had was really connecting to others. I was very curious about people, about the experience of others. And I was never really into the way we're taught to do therapy. I mean, I'm kind of a rule breaker. I don't, I kind of follow whatever is in front of me. And so the education piece was a necessary piece to understand the industry. But I think I learned, most of my skills were definitely not only through my own personal experiences in navigating through adversity, but also I truly believe that until you're a part of the minority, until you've gone through some of the adversity yourself, it's going to be very difficult to understand people who are in that state. So there was a lot of experiences that I saw. And to be honest, I probably stayed and, continued my work in there more so out of outrage at the things that were done wrong than something like, hey, this is my path. I really, when I first started, I had a bachelor's, and back then you could get a waiver for your master's in Arizona if you worked for the state for at-risk youth that were adjudicated, which means they were under court jurisdiction. And like I said, it's the hardest population, but it was the certification that you needed. And when I received that, I was able to do like individual, family, group therapy, going to court hearings. I mean, the full gambit of probably services that, even people with a master's degree might not really want to do. But it really introduced me into the system, and it introduced me into the challenges that we have when it comes to, we want to fight crime, we want to fight trauma, we want to get rid of all the suffering, but do we really understand it? Do we really understand what's happening? Why people respond the way they do? And there's so much misunderstanding out there that I think that very much it was the outrage for, just really humanity that kept me going, kept me curious, kept me moving forward and trying new things. And that's just kind of been each step along the way. Is there something that's missing? There's something I want to understand better so that I can serve people better. And when you have that mindset, I think you can't stop growing. You keep learning, you keep expanding. The more you grow, the more you realize how little you know.
Yeah.
And so I think that is a lot of what led to realizing some of the things that we're doing to try to help people are making a lot of assumptions
Right.
about, like, we
Mm.
pathologize, the normal
Yeah.
human experience.
Oh, yeah.
And so then that kind of became the mission of better understanding the human experience. How do we normalize this stuff?
Mm.
And that's kind of what's led to where I'm at now.
Wow. Yes, yes, a billion times to everything that you're saying, and it's beyond the words. I'm getting the feelings,
Mm-hmm.
the energy from your words, and from the way you're saying them. It's really heartfelt. So it's coming from a place of compassion, a place of that's what I'm interpreting here energetically too. Trying to help those who cannot help themselves. So that has a lot to do with injustice or being just. And
Yeah.
then this beautiful sense of connectivity too. So because you mentioned understanding, that is so true. A lot of people don't understand. We don't understand one another. We have a hard time. The first thing that happens, I see, from my own experience too, is judgment, right? We judge others
Yeah. And
before
it's
anything else.
normal.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like our brains, I tell people, yeah, it's part of the standard human package. Our brain
right,
is wired for efficiency. And
right.
in order to be efficient, you have to make assumptions. You can't vet
Mm,
every single little thing that comes your way. So your brain starts categorizing, and then it's based off of the experiences you've had. But in that process, if we're not intentional, we're not aware,
yeah,
that's when we become judgmental. We make assumptions about people, and
yeah.
that's what becomes, detrimental over time to others and to ourselves, because what
Mm,
we put out into our communities, what we put out
mm,
into humanity comes back to us.
mm.
We're actively generating and creating our reality by
Yes.
what we're contributing.
Ah, yes, beautifully said. Yes, yes, yes. To the power of that, that I call inner power, being sovereign, right? Knowing oneself.
Yeah.
Yes, it sounds, in a sense, sounds very spiritual. I'm very spiritually inclined. I have a tendency to interpreting life through the lens of spirituality. That's
Yeah.
really very simple. That we all come from one essence. That everything
Yeah.
is not just the part of a body, but we are actually wholeness. Also, that wholeness lives in the parts too. So all of us are actually the world itself, or perhaps God itself, having the experiences of a human. So that's kind of my insights from here. But do you I can't help but ask this question. Do you have any spiritual views of reality, of the world, of yourself? Is that another lens that you tend to look
Yeah, I
through?
do. I certainly believe that we're all connected. And I think it's interesting that we work on integrating memories and integrating experiences, because it really is, we integrate our own experiences and responses and understand ourselves better, we start to also notice the connections with other humans,
Mm,
notice those areas of struggle, and perceive them differently than we maybe did before.
right.
I tell people, you can't have compassion
Mm,
without it starting within first. Right? You
yes.
can't truly experience that, because
Yes.
it's like having a 14 karat gold plated thing versus
Yeah.
like a solid gold thing that comes from within. And when
Yeah.
it's only plated on the outside, when it's generated because you
Ah,
believe you should be compassionate to others, but
yeah.
you're not extending the same understanding
Mm,
as a human to yourself, it comes at a price, at a cost, because we don't even realize that we're how we interact. There's underlying expectation that others
mm,
also do that for us instead of us doing
mm,
it for ourselves, and that's
mm.
where people get stuck.
Yes.
You have the compassion, but you don't realize you expect something, but you start feeling a little salty after a while, and you're wondering what's going on. Oh,
Mm,
well, because you're generating it from the outside. You're not. It's got to
yeah.
come from within us first, and when we go through ourselves and we
Yes.
see our own journey and the choices that we've made, or how situations or experiences have impacted how we see the world or how we treat ourselves or others, you can't help but also gain insight on those around you. And you see how similar we are, how we all just want to be seen. We all want to be cared for and accepted. And that is, it's just really the way I perceive people as they heal and wake up and open their eyes and see the truth. You can't hurt someone else without hurting yourself. You just can't.
Wow, that's beautifully said. Yeah. Well, you see, this is like the foundation of all spiritual teachings, and it seems like that's where psychology or any attempt to help others, it's leading to, like this understanding, right? That if you hurt others, you hurt yourself. You hurt yourself, you hurt others. Almost everything's so connected that we are not separate from life. That when we wake up for that truth, then life becomes so much more interesting and beautiful.
It's so much fuller. Yeah, and beautiful.
Yes,
You can't truly experience joy. It's joy-plated life versus a solid joy, like from within.
Right.
If somebody, with you or around you is suffering, you can't. It's going to be limited, surface level.
Yes, a billion times to that truth as well. So before we talk, I have all these questions here about the CMI, critical memory integration approach to trauma. So I have all these questions here. But before that, you said something that kind of, I became curious about a question. Let me see if I can elaborate on this question. So where do we draw the line, per se, when it comes to this inner knowing, inner power that we can help ourselves, having that compassion for ourselves, and in the expectation that others could help us somehow, could come in and help us? In what kind of circumstances or situations those two kind of dynamics play a role? I'm just wondering here, because that happens a lot where we don't know, we become a little confused.
Well, and there's two angles from that. Number one, because I talk about this with my clients all the time, the difference between helping and enabling is as a result of my intervention, my interaction. Is this person stronger, wiser, healthier? Or are they more independent? Because if the answer is no and they're asking you for the same thing the next month, then something's not actually helping. You're just doing it to make yourself feel better, right? Alleviating your discomfort with seeing them suffer. That's a self-centered approach to helping. So that's from one aspect. From the other side, as an individual, humans really need connection. We thrive on connection. That's different from dependency. Dependency is necessary when we're born and when we're children. Right. We're one of the only, mammals that require a caretaker to keep us alive for the first few years of life, or we will die. It's a survival mechanism. However, during that time, depending on our experiences, if we have caretakers that teach us how to care for ourselves, how to love ourselves, how to value ourselves, great. We grow up independent and we're able to do, engage in relationships and enjoy company and connection. But if there are things that we were missing, if our experiences created assumptions that we're not worthy or we're not lovable or we're any less than any other human, then it creates the dependency, the always seeking that validation. And as a child, having acceptance from a caretaker is necessary, because if they reject us or abandon us, we could die. Right. So it feels like a life or death need. But as an adult, we can survive on our own. But if we haven't updated that, if we don't recognize those things and we continue seeking out these, thinking that we always need someone else outside of us to meet that. And I say we enter relationships hungry, and you know what they say, don't shop on an empty stomach, right? You're gonna get whatever is available, and then it causes so many other issues in our life. So I do want to bring that, I compare it to physical healing. How do you know that you need help? Well, the same way as someone who has like physical injuries. if you hire a personal trainer, it's great for them to strengthen you, right? They're going to push you. They're going to push you to your limit so that you can grow. But that's not healthy. That's not good if you have an injured muscle. You need
Right.
some, repairing. You need some
Mm.
being more cautious, being gentle, being
Mm.
careful. And if
Yeah.
you have like 87 broken bones, well, you need to be in a full body cast. You
Yes.
need someone to feed you until those bones heal. And
Mm.
then you can work on restoring your strength, and then you can work on being independent. But it
Mm.
really depends on where we're at in terms of
Mm.
our emotional, psychological health and well-being. If we've gone through severe adversity, it's going to be very difficult for us to learn those skills if we don't have that support around us. And at that point, it's not just
Yes.
about age, it's about what have you been exposed to? What experiences have you had?
Mm. Yes. Well, clearly explained. Yeah, it's very clear to me everything you said. And then what comes to mind immediately is, which is very much connected to what you do, and the topic, it's trauma. So it feels like to me that most people in this world are kind of running through those wheels, I would say, the wheel of trauma. So basically responding, creating a world, their own world, and then kind of projecting that outside from that place of trauma. And a lot of times without knowing, even, it was my case, just
Well,
not knowing.
Valeria, and I say this a lot, like in Spanish, we have a saying that's cada
Yeah.
cabeza es un mundo. Every head is its
Yeah,
own
Portuguese
world.
too. Yeah.
We all have our own reality, whether it's trauma based or not. People who are healthy, who had stable, loving homes, also
Mm.
have their own reality, and they project it onto
Mm.
others with unrealistic expectations. It's
Mm.
that healthy person that's like, you see how buff I am? You could run a mile too. You just do this. And you're
Yeah.
sitting there with a broken leg, like, well, what's wrong with me? Why
Right.
can't I do what you do with ease?
Right.
Because you're in a different situation. So it's
Right.
not just about, well, I had trauma, so I look at the world differently. Everybody looks at the world differently, whether they know that or not. That's what neuroscience
Mm.
has taught us, because
Mm.
our interpretation of relationships, of ourselves, of meaning, of our worth, of, how you connect or what you're, everything in reality is based off of experience. What you
Right.
experience, and
Right.
everybody's experience is different,
Right.
is what starts shaping how the brain interprets the world.
Yes, yeah, that's another beautiful clarification there too. Yes, yes. I guess I was referring to trauma in that sense, outside of the generalized idea that we all create our own realities, which is true. We all live in our own
Yeah.
worlds. That is so true. But then there's something about coming from a place of disconnection that kind of creates
Yes.
chaos, right? So you're always creating
Yes.
conflicts everywhere you go
Yes.
without knowing why. It was totally my case, feeling angry
Yes.
because I felt that there was that injustice
Yes.
had kind of had been my experience my entire life. Being born in Brazil with all the my dysfunctional family. Oh, sorry for saying that.
Yeah.
They didn't
Yeah.
know too. I know we all. You see, because a lot of times we don't know, and that's what it's almost like it becomes this very interesting idea of innocence. If you don't know
Yes.
something, then you can't do anything. You cannot blame people for doing certain things because they didn't know. Do you remember the case? I don't know if you remember this, but I never forgotten this. That this woman, I don't know where, somebody said, we tend to blame people for what they do, but they didn't know what they were doing. Even Christ said that, right? Jesus said that when he was in
Yeah.
the story of Jesus when he was crucified. So this guy who killed, I think, his family, his children and wife, and
Mm-hmm.
then they did an autopsy after he killed himself, and then they found that he had a tumor close to his amygdala.
Oh,
So there was
yeah.
really hard, where he lost total control of himself and started behaving completely differently and did horrible things. So that's something that. I don't know. It feels like we are still living in this kind of, this experiment of being human. It's very much being sensitive to that some of us, there's a lot happening within the body itself biologically that we don't know, not even outside, but we ourselves don't know. So there's so much about ourselves that we don't know, our biology, our minds.
Yeah, and I
So,
see there's so much to discover. It's like we come to
yes.
Earth, and each of us have a different journey that kind of makes us lose sight of our capacities, of the wonder of life, of the beauty of it, and the road or the path, the journey is to discover the truth, rediscover the truth
Right.
of who we are, what we're
Right.
capable of, our power. And that's essentially what my role is, as a therapist, is what I love to do, is help people
Mm,
reconnect to the truth
right.
of who you are, whether
Right.
it takes layers of, a parent that had high expectations and encouraged you to go to medical school when you really wanted to go be a musician, because
Mm.
that was your gift, or it's a parent that didn't know any better on how to engage or interact with a child that's struggling and was abusive, or was,
Right.
that also teaches us things that are not congruent with who we are at the core, because our bodies are wired for survival. So our response isn't really going to be something that is well thought out. It's reactive.
Mm.
But,
Mm.
things like anger or rage that come up, those are all protective. And if we don't understand that, we
Right.
get that tangled up with our identity. And that's where the problems start.
Ah, yes. And that's the beautiful job of therapists like you. Yeah. And coaches too, spiritual teacher. I see that. I mean, I have this sense of devotion, for this type of work because
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it is kind of leading people back to themselves, to be able to self-reflect, to self-observe. That's sacred to me. If we are able to see
Yes.
patterns, right? And like, wait a minute, you see, so talk to me about, so now I think is the time because I want to ask like so many other questions. So CMI, critical memory integration, what is it, how it works? And I would love to hear an example from you too.
So it goes beyond just desensitizing or coping or managing with symptoms. It goes
Right.
to connecting you to that core, the true self, the core self.
Mm, mm,
And so we're kind of,
yeah,
we don't spend a lot of time with, the first thing you got to do is learn how to sit with discomfort, right? Be
right,
able to explore, because every emotion that comes up is a signal. Now, that means
right,
that some people are going to be able to handle or tolerate some more than others, and we start with where they are. But the premise comes from, as I was talking earlier about how all of us have our own experiences, we each have like a library of experience that creates these neural networks, kind of like the matrix of your reality.
yeah,
And
yeah,
sometimes those things that you did to survive are not really congruent with your heart. Right. So as a
right,
kid, I had a
mm,
lot of the anger issues and kind of really rebellious, because
yeah,
that was my trauma response. That was how I protected myself. But it
right,
didn't feel good. It didn't feel good to hurt people. And so
mm,
at some point, this thing, if you don't figure it out, turns into self-hatred because you think that that's who you are. But
right,
how do I know that's not who you are? Because you're not at
mm,
peace with it. It bothers you. So
mm,
there's something within you that is saying this is not it. And our role is to help you figure that out, is to
right,
connect to those signals. And what we believe is there are memories in terms of, there's we go through daily life and there's all these experiences that we have, but our brain has to decide which ones are important to remember, which ones are kind of nonchalant, like what you ate for breakfast on, Thursday,
right.
January 6th of 1985. It doesn't really matter,
Yes,
unless that was a
yeah,
big day, something happened.
yes,
But when there are experiences that, for whatever reason, whether it's trauma, it doesn't always have to be trauma.
right,
It could be something that how you responded, or an assumption that you made, even subconsciously, from throughout your life. You pick these things up and they become different. They become critical experiences, because they start shaping how you view the world, how you see
mm,
yourself. That's what we call critical memories. And those are powerful because, unfortunately,
right,
if at the time they're congruent with you, so I have this memory of what it's like to do right, and I
mm,
know how to do right even when it's hard, that can carry me through my whole life with integrity. But if
right,
I don't have that, and when it's hard, I go into survival, or I don't do the thing, and then I feel bad about how I handled it, or,
yeah,
I was told I was a bad person because of the way I was handling things outside of that experience, maybe I was protecting myself and then became overprotective and reactive and angry, then those critical experiences create a problem later on because we feel like we're stuck in those patterns. We become stuck and we don't know how to see ourselves outside of that. And so with CMI, what we're doing, rather than focusing on like the thought process or, trying to convince your body not to freak out or not to react a certain way,
Yeah.
we're connecting to the experiences, those signals from the body, which come up as either emotion or sensation. And we help you connect to that within yourself, because I don't know what it's like to be you. You're the only one that knows what it's like to be you.
Right.
But I'm going to help you figure out how to uncover all the layers through back to who you really are, back to connect to what we call the core, that observer, the enduring aspects of ourselves that is enduring across time and space. That is the you that experienced each phase of life. That is the you that experienced your response to adversity, right? The you that had created meaning out of those things. And that is where you hold your power. That's where you hold your agency, because you can also use that you to recreate, to redefine, to reconnect.
Right. Wow. That's I love the way you say that. I mean, you're describing the true self in in a way that I have been reflecting, learning, experiencing, I mean, for years now, trying to kind of understand what that is. And then when you speak of identity, then it could go either way. Sometimes it can go to interdestructive patterns that now we believe that we are bad people and all that. But then the opposite
Right.
too, it was my case. Oh, I'm very good in love. And then anything that I did that was not accepted by others, I would just feel bad about myself too. Oh, so I'm not that loving person that I thought I was.
Well, in that, that's like the people
thing.
pleasing, Valeria. That's,
Yeah.
that's that's
Right.
appeasing. That's also a survival mechanism.
Mm,
So how do you know the
yeah.
difference between the two? Do you know the difference
Right.
between the two?
Yes. Well, now I guess because I've been doing a lot of experiments with meditation, and I'm a student of Vedanta, which is a Hindu philosophy based on the Upanishads. So I don't know if you're familiar with that, but basically what it says is that we are. The reason why we are able to observe and experience what changes with the body, mind, thoughts, and all these things is because we are that which is calm, quiet, perfectly still. So it's like the infinite experience of the finite. It doesn't really.
Yeah, the issue is your brain holds on to memories of experiences, and if those experiences were not calm, quiet, or still, like they were traumatic, and you have not
Yes.
integrated them, meaning you have not put those pieces of the puzzle together into your journey, understanding your journey. They continue to be activated every time you try to push them away in search of the piece. It keeps calling to you, hey, you left me behind. You haven't finished digesting me yet. And so until we learn to do that, which requires us to go to those dark places that we've been trying to avoid, it demands our attention. It demands the honoring of that experience. And until we can do that, we can digest it. And I call it digestion because when an experience happens, there are many things that we have to process, like everything from everything that we observe and experience, but also from inside ourselves, what our body is telling us, what our body feels, what that does to our psyche, how we think about it, the meaning that we put behind it. All of these things are part of that experience. And if we digested it from a place of knowing who we are, then we know what parts are the wisdom that we hold on to, just like food, right? It goes through our body, and our body knows which nutrients are useful. And the ones that are useless, it has to release.
Right.
Well, some people don't want to experience even the taste of that experience. And so they don't digest it. They put it on hold. They shove it in the back of the closet. They try to never think about it again. Well, it doesn't go anywhere. It's still controlling how you view the world. It's still impacting that. But until you're able to, attune to that noise, that that signal that's coming up, it's going to be impossible to find quiet. You can't generate quiet at a loud rock concert.
Yes.
You have to turn
I
the
love
noise
that.
down and the quiet as a result of that.
Yes. I love your wisdom. Yeah. And I'm sure it's coming from experience too. I'm very much into mysticism, which has a lot to do with we only speak from the place that we know because we have
Yeah,
experienced it.
exactly.
We know it at
Yeah.
that level. Yeah, at that level of experiential level. So yes, it makes a lot of sense to me. So even though it really resonates true that we are the changeless, we are the infinite, we are that which never, it's just completely quiet. And even when a lot of people have done experimentations, which I have too with meditation, and then there's a moment that it's so quiet. I mean, and that's when we almost like something happens where we're in this state of bliss, of almost like out of this world type of bliss, like pleasure that you cannot find here. So, but anyway, that's one. It seems like it's one. It might be like the ultimate reality, which Vedanta talks about.
I
But
would
then what?
say that's, yeah, when you're truly connected to truth of who you are, that's that peace, right? In
Right,
the quiet, you were able to
right,
achieve because you can only be in the now. The
right,
you is only in the now.
yeah.
Everything from before this moment was just an experience that is encoded in your memory networks, right?
Mm,
There's only
mm,
one you. Unfortunately,
mm,
whenever we have experiences that were not
yeah,
integrated, they were not connected, they can override your nervous system because we're also this meat suit that we all live in. Yeah, that's
yeah,
what I call the body. It's wired for physical survival. And so
right.
when we're competing, if we don't understand how it works or why, why emotion, why this, why putting that, all of that is part of the experience of being in this world. And if we don't
Mm,
understand that and we don't know how to work with it,
right.
it becomes this like battle of trying to outcompete
Mm,
what is happening to keep us alive in search of a spiritual experience. And we can call that also spiritual bypassing, right? At
yeah,
times that you're seeking for something, but you're
yeah.
doing it to escape something else. That's different. It's
Yes,
different from being present.
yes, a billion times that truth. I have done that a lot, I have to say. The spiritual
Hmm.
bypassing, oh my God, that saved me actually at some point. But
Hmm.
yes, yes, and yes.
I mean, all those adaptive responses, they play a role.
Yeah, right. You see, I love that wisdom too, Stefana, because we need to honor everything, right? All experiences where
Yeah.
we are with exactly kind of honoring whatever happens the way it happens without regrets, without trying to push away, or I just ended all
Well, with
that.
the recognition that it doesn't have to define you unless you choose for it to define you. And
Mm,
even then you can choose in which way it defines you. Right?
right,
That we do not go through it without exercising our agency to choose what we do with it.
right, right. Yes, yes. Wow, that's another beautiful topic of being sovereign, right? And that was one of the with all my traumatic baggage that I have been working for years now. That one that just surprised me at some point where exactly what you said that. I had to address the humanism, not the human parts of me that they are not integrated. And they felt like
Yes.
my interpretation was heart wisdom, which has to do with intuition, what we call the soul, body wisdom, like the embodiment of the experience of it's almost like
Yes.
again being a spirit in a human body. So God trying to be human is more like that. And then you cannot ignore that because that's the experience. And then I notice now that I'm becoming a lot more aware that I can say no to things before I thought I couldn't because of
You
the people
must.
pleasing thing. Yeah, I wanted
Yeah,
to say
you
no.
must say no. And you know
Ah,
why you must,
yeah,
Valeria? Because the
yeah,
difference is when you have that compassion. So a lot of people that are the people pleasers, they have a compassionate heart, right? The
right,
problem is that it cannot truly have it's compassion without integrity is
right.
people pleasing. That's what it is. It's an
Mm,
adaptive response
yeah,
that plays a role in protecting the body. So it's
right,
looking at the
right.
other, and the fear of them being upset or the fear of setting that boundary comes from a survival mechanism. It doesn't come from authenticity. When it's
Mm,
authentic, the compassion
mm,
cannot bypass you. It can't bypass you. Just like a
um,
solid brick gold, no matter which way you cut it, it's going to be solid the whole way through. It
right.
has to go from the heart through you first to
Mm,
the other person.
yes, yes, yes. Wow. And that's something that that's fascinating to see that although I have done so much work, it's still a challenge. And I'm like, gosh, why do I have so a hard time saying no? Even the body kind of responds in a very interesting way. The heart rate goes up when I'm about to say no to something that it's really a no. I don't want to say yes,
Well,
but then the body becomes because you said it's trying to it's a protection mechanism. So
yes, I'm going to
survival.
ask you, is it that you have
Yeah.
a problem saying no? Or is it who you're saying no to? Because I would be willing to bet that in those moments,
Mm,
you're saying
mm.
no to Valeria. You have no issue saying no to Valeria.
Yes, that's true.
And
There's
where did
certain
that come
people.
from?
Yeah, that's a good point. It's certain people. Maybe because they hold some sort of not power over me, but there's something about them, perhaps that I depend on, like my landlady, perhaps my husband. And then
Mhm.
there's something that feels in me like, oh, if I say no, then I'm risking. Um, Something in me is afraid that I won't survive if I say no.
Yes,
Oh, it's afraid,
yes,
right? There's a lot of
yes.
fear happening there.
Fear. And
Ah,
think about at what
gosh.
point, because fear is there to protect you, it's there to keep you alive. At what
Yes.
point in your life
Yeah.
was saying no a potential threat to your life?
Oh, yeah. I don't. Yeah, that I can't remember.
Could be so far
Yeah.
that, right, even as children,
Yeah.
we have caretakers. We depend on caretakers to survive. And if
Right.
we reject them, if we don't accept, if we displease them, it risks rejection, it risks abandonment, which risks our life because we cannot survive without them. Truly cannot survive without them.
Of course, yeah, that has been my experience as a child, trying to please my mother no matter what, because she, yeah, she was my mother and she was super violent,
Mhm.
physically in every way. I mean, it was really horrible. And I always, yeah, I was the one like hurt physically, emotionally, spiritually. And I was trying to still kind of make sure that she was okay, that she wouldn't get angry again. I wouldn't make her angry, or I would do anything for her to be at peace.
So who
So
looked
she
out
would,
for Valeria?
yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. It makes me emotional at this moment. Right. Oh my God.
And
Yeah.
who's looking out for her now?
Right. Right. And you see that something else comes up, like with a very joyful um, kind of flavor to it, that I'm looking out for myself. It's
Mhm.
okay. It's okay to be me, and it's okay to to embody, to fully embody this experience, and not be
Yes.
afraid of saying no to certain
Now you
people.
have to practice it.
Mm,
You have to
yeah,
practice it for
yeah,
her.
right. Wow, it's Stefana. So in a way, I'm 48 now. This happened so long ago, and that it's still somehow influencing, right? My
It's
behavior. Not
outdated.
all the.
Yeah, it's like you're using a dot matrix printer and we're like,
Yeah,
we're in
yeah.
2025 and I'm like, why are you still using that thing? And you're frustrated because it doesn't always work and it gets jammed
Eh,
and
right.
it's an old response that helped you at some point. And that's the honoring piece, recognizing that at that point,
Yeah.
a child can't just be like, well, this is unhealthy. I'm going to just move out and sign my own lease.
Or
It
just
just
leave. Yeah.
Yeah, we
Right.
don't have the option. Not at
Yeah.
that age, but we do
Mm.
now. And I'd be willing to bet that sometimes some of the people that you're not willing to say no to are people that love you. People that you love and that love you back.
Yeah, and they do. That's true. That is very much true. Yeah, very much true. Oh
But
my God,
yeah,
Stefana. That was like a mini session. That was like a mini session. Thank you. Yeah, how amazing. So this is a very good example, right? Like for people listening to this, that they are not alone. We are never alone, really, with what we are going through. There is always a way of understanding ourselves, help that we can get. And that's why I do this, perhaps. Of course, I'm still trying to help myself heal to understand. I have a lot of fun having these conversations. But there's something about being open and honest enough to, and being curious enough.
Yes.
That kind of eliminates a lot of the fear too, right?
Yes,
Of knowing.
curiosity is the key. It's staying curious. Right.
Yeah.
You can go to scary places. I mean, how many people pay so much money to go to like
Yeah.
haunted houses or,
Yeah.
on Halloween? Why? It's intentional. Go figure out that. I know it's going to be scary, but it's going to be fun.
Yes. Right.
And when we do that with our own experiences, you're not there anymore. You already made it. I hate to ruin the ending, but you survived. You survived.
Yes.
So then just be curious about that experience. That's going to be the key to connect these pieces.
Yes, becoming more curious. And that's the interesting thing, that I have done a lot of work and I'm very curious, but I can't help not feeling those feelings, not perceiving them, even when they arise. I was told that it is possible to completely eliminate them. Is that something that you propose with
so
CMI?
Feelings with CMI, the feelings are if they don't match what's happening right now, like there's something that's incongruent, right? You're like, I don't know why I'm acting a little extra. This should be like a level 2 thing and I'm acting at a 10. That lets you know it's not coming from the now. It's coming from one of these unintegrated memories, these experiences that you had earlier, that maybe are requesting your presence, are requesting that you come and be with it, learn something about it. And you can do that. You can do that internally. That's what we're doing with CMI. You come, to a clinician and we hold the space and help guide you through it and kind of just point the compass, because we're not doing the work for you. We can't go inside of your mind. You're the one in there. You're the only one that can uncover those things. And it's wanting you to know these things. And so with the curiosity, you're able to make those connections. And when you do, the feeling changes because it's no longer present. That noise isn't there anymore.
Right.
It's like turning the lights on in the scary house, right? And you see that clown, now I see the hand behind it. And now you could turn the lights off again, but you can't unsee the truth. Right. And so the feeling changes.
Right. Yes. So true. I mean, that's a beautiful metaphor. I always go back to what we call intuition, and I see how true it is. When anything I do, I always, any decisions I make, because I meet a lot of people and I do a lot of things, projects and all, and then I have to always kind of meditate and use my intuition to make decisions. And I noticed when I don't listen to my intuition, it always confirms itself that it was true. So I just get myself in trouble every time I don't listen to it. How do you, do you actually use that that term intuition when you during the therapy work? Is that something that comes up? I'm wondering.
I think, it's such a concept that to me, like how people conceptualize things. I mean, even with spirituality, you have religions, you have, different things, depending on what the word that resonates with the individual. We work around that frame. It's not that you have to accommodate my ideas or beliefs about it, my language or words that I use. It has to be within the context of your world, of your understanding. And so whatever word the individual uses to conceptualize or to make meaning or understand their own life is what we go with. But I think a lot of times, whether you call it intuition, I mean, there's neuroscience that shows that there's like, we used to think neurons were just in the brain. There's neurons in the belly. There's little, there's all over the body. I mean, we think that memory only resides like within the brain, the mechanisms of the brain, and yet we know that there are people who get surgeries and get transplanted, livers or something, and they have different memories. So where is that information, that data stored? Right. So when we talk about intuition or feeling, you can call it a gut feeling. You can call it neuroception also. There's a lot of your subconscious mind is picking up information that never comes to your conscious awareness. Right. And there's patterns in that too. So sometimes there's a deeper knowing that I think it's hard to say for sure it's this or that. There's a lot of theories behind it, but I do believe that there is, I myself, the same thing with the intuition. Some of the decisions I made that took me to the best places didn't go down without a fight. I was like, that doesn't even make sense. Why would I do that? But I couldn't not do it.
That's it. Yeah. So in a sense, there's something in the body, or perhaps not even, or that runs through the body that knows it. It kind of knows, right?
It knows. And
knows.
it's that knowing we're trying to tap into. When we do CMI, we call it the core self. We can't, it's everybody has a different concept of it.
Right.
But we start off with the fact that when you come in and you tell me I'm just an angry person and I hate myself for it, then you're not an angry person. How do I know that? Because you hate yourself for it. And hate for the self is contraindicating how we're wired to survive and for self-preservation.
Right.
So let's figure out what's not congruent there.
Right. Wow. That's another beautiful explanation for that, right? Very scientific in that sense too, that a lot of us would agree with through our own experience. So to me, these days, it goes back to the body again, something that I was really kind of trying to fight, in a sense that the body was just something that, perhaps because of the spiritual component that it was all about. We are not the body, we're not the mind, we're not this, we're not that. So I was trying as much as I could not make the body my servant, the servant of my soul, of my spirit.
And but it also doesn't say abandon and abuse your body.
Right. Yes, that's
right? You're not
correct.
caring for your body. You still have to care for your temple. You have to care for it. And that doesn't mean you ignore it.
Yeah, that's it. And that's what is really, really now truly coming in, as a message, as a powerful practice. You've got to do this, kind of be more embodied, bring the body wisdom. And that, and interestingly enough, it feels like it's connected to intuition, that knowing again, something knows, and then the body goes with it. The body follows that innate, that essential.
Well, those signals come. Yeah, those signals come through the body. It's that sense, the sensations. That's how those signals come through. You can't think them. You feel them. You experience them.
Right. Yeah, that's it. It's no rational thinking for sure.
So if you've disconnected, you've cut your head off from the body, how are you going to get those signals? How are you going to communicate with it?
Yes. Yeah. And in the sense too, Estafana, even if the idea is to survive here, to stay here a little bit longer and enjoy this experience somehow, then it's out of the window, right? If we are not listening to the body wisdom and the intuition, because it is the navigation tool for this reality, for the physical reality, if there's such a thing. To
truly be fully present and experience the love, the joy, the beauty that this world brings, you have to be connected.
Right.
You can't be disconnected. You can't pick and choose. If you're disconnected, you miss out. And that's where people start suffering from anxiety, because their body's panicking, listen to me. I've got something to tell you. Right. No, I don't like what you're saying. The body's just relating what we've experienced. And you can make sense of it, but not unless you collaborate and you listen to it and you understand it better.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much for having this conversation with me. You're just very open, very knowledgeable, but it's not just about knowledge, information. I hear wisdom. I hear what I call timeless wisdom. If we listen to this 500 years from now, it's still valid.
Yeah, I believe that too.
Yeah, it's still valid. So
thank you.
Thank you so much, Estafana, for your presence. And we're almost at the end. I want to mention your services. So through AriseAlliance.org, the services that you offer is a CMI information session, CMI trainings, and T3 trainings. Did I miss anything?
Yeah, I mean, we've developed trainings because the CMI is really training clinicians, and if any of y'all know clinicians out there that could use this modality, we're happy to give them information because that's the one thing that we are really seeking right now is, we
Yeah.
have plenty of individuals who are looking to do this and are benefiting from it, but we don't have enough providers, and so
Right.
any clinician that has that. But we also have expanded upon that. We haven't posted the things yet, but we're working with organizations in the communities to help implement some of this understanding of our nervous system, our body, our brain, our memories, and how they impact our agency.
Mm.
And it's really it's beautiful to see the community coming together in knowing how to implement these things. We worked with the police department earlier today, actually. So I think it's amazing that they're recognizing that coming with a compassionate, understanding approach
Mm.
oftentimes,
Yeah.
serves much long-term
Mm.
outcomes for safety, for stability, for
Mm.
improvements, and in the community. So I think, yeah, as you said, people are waking up and understanding, and it's so amazing to be a part of that.
Yes, and it's so beautiful to see you doing this work too, with the wisdom that you have. That really, that's something that I live for. So wisdom, that has to do a lot with the expanded compassion, where we see the world as a family. And again, it's a much bigger picture. So it's not about only methods, specific methods, or the way we think that we want other people to think as we do, but it's beyond that. So it's understanding, it's expanding really the heart, isn't it? That love. So to me, everything goes back to love again. Maybe that's why it's easier in a sense to go back to the body, because I'm very good at it, kind of taking care of things of other people, and now taking care of my own body too. But now with this understanding, it's even going deeper now, which is it's a beautiful thing to see here, because that's the beginning, isn't it? Like if I can
Yes.
end conflict here, if I can have a peaceful experience here within my body mind, then it's I can pass that on somehow.
Yes.
It starts
Expand
here.
it. Yes.
Thank you so much again for everything, your beautiful presence, wisdom, everything. And before we say goodbye, for the record, is there anything that you left unsaid, Estafana, for
No,
this
it's
conversation?
been an honor. It's an honor to be in this space with you, and thank you for inviting me. And for anyone who is listening, also thank you for listening and sharing that space with us. It's always an honor to connect.
Yes, I have my hands together out of, yes, this is my sacred space. I just love doing this. I can't help it. I can't help it. Thank you so much again, and we'll talk soon. Bye for now,
Okay,
Stefana.
thank you.
Bye, my dear.
Thank you for listening. To learn more about Estafana Johnson and her work, please visit arisealliance.org.